Julia Trubkina's heartbreak. The 90-Day Fiancé star opens up about her dog Simba's health crisis. Fans of 90 Day, The Last Resort know Julia Trubkina as the vibrant, resilient Russian woman who stole Brandon Gibbs' heart after they met while she was working in South Korea. Their journey on 90 Day Fiancé Season 8 was anything but smooth, dealing with overbearing in-laws, career sacrifices, and relationship hurdles that would test any couple. But through it all, Julia stood strong. Today, however, she faces a different kind of struggle, one that has left her emotionally wrecked. Her beloved dog Simba is critically ill after suffering a stroke. A devastating update. Julia first shared the heartbreaking news on her Instagram, where she revealed that her German Shepherd, Simba, had suffered a stroke. This sudden event turned her world upside down. "There is no news," she wrote in a somber update, accompanied by a photo of Simba lying weakly. "He stopped walking. I'm feeding him with a syringe. I haven't slept. I've been trying everything to make him drink and eat." Her words painted a picture of desperation and love, a pet parent refusing to give up on her baby. Fans quickly noticed how raw and emotional Julia appeared in her videos. Her eyes told the story: exhaustion, fear, and a kind of helplessness only someone watching a loved one suffer can understand. Simba's health journey. Only days earlier, Simba had been running and playing on the couple's farm, full of energy and joy. The sudden change in his health was a gut punch for Julia. She stayed by his side throughout the night, watching him, helping him move, and making sure he felt safe. Simba could no longer walk on his own, and the vet visits quickly escalated into something far more serious. Simba was placed on medication and had already undergone one surgery. But the question of whether he'd need another more invasive operation still hung in the air. Julia was awaiting test results, lab work that would help determine the next steps. All she could do was wait and hope. The financial and emotional toll. Julia has always shown her entrepreneurial spirit since appearing on 90 Day Fiancé. After leaving behind her work as a go-go dancer, she turned to pet care, a career that suited her deep affection for animals. Her current business, which sells pet-related subscription boxes, was how she hoped to manage the overwhelming vet bills. One surgery alone was estimated to cost $7,000. She never directly asked fans for donations, but she did offer them a way to support her by purchasing through her business. "If you want to help, please consider buying a box," she said, emphasizing that any profit would go straight toward Simba's care. For Julia, this wasn't just about money. It was about fighting for a family member. "I'm exhausted, devastated," she admitted, and fans across social media rallied with messages of love, prayers, and support. Where is Brandon? As Julia documented Simba's struggle, some followers noticed Brandon's absence from the narrative. He has not appeared in any recent Instagram posts or videos, nor has he shared updates about Simba himself. While it's unclear whether he's involved behind the scenes, the silence has raised questions among fans who remember their rocky relationship history. During their time on the show, Brandon's traditional values and controlling behavior often clashed with Julia's independence. Many remember how he discouraged her from pursuing a career or deciding her own timeline for children. But despite the hurdles, they remained together, even renewing their vows on the last resort. Still, fans are curious. Is Brandon providing emotional support during this crisis, or is Julia once again left to navigate hardship on her own? The bond between Julia and her dogs. To Julia, Simba isn't just a pet, he's family. Along with her other German Shepherd, these dogs have been her constants since moving to the U.S. They've stood by her through the uncertainty of immigration, the tension with Brandon's parents, and the ups and downs of married life. Julia has often described herself as a dog mom, and in many ways, her bond with Simba mirrors the kind of unconditional love and loyalty she's been striving to find in her human relationships. Watching him suffer is, in her words, my worst nightmare. Fans rally with support. In the wake of Simba's stroke, Julia has received an outpouring of support from fans, fellow cast members, and the wider 90-day community. Messages filled her inbox, many offering encouragement, others sharing their own stories of pets who'd recovered from similar conditions. One fan wrote, "Your love for Simba shines so brightly. He's lucky to have you." Another added, "We've been through the same thing. Don't lose hope. Dogs are resilient, and they feel our love." It's these messages that seem to keep Julia going. Even as she battles physical fatigue and emotional burnout, she continues to post small updates and heartfelt thank yous to her followers. Her transparency has created a space for empathy, where strangers become supporters. Julia's emotional journey, resilience in the face of crisis. The strength Julia has shown during Simba's health crisis is nothing new to fans who have followed her journey since 90 Day Fiancé Season 8. From the moment she arrived in Dinwiddie, Virginia, viewers saw her trying to balance her cultural identity, personal goals, and relationship dynamics. She's never been the type to back down, whether it was clashing with Brandon's parents over chores and house rules, or standing up for herself when her career choices were dismissed. Now, that same strength is evident in how she cares for Simba. The daily updates, sometimes brief, sometimes tearful, have transformed her Instagram into a virtual diary of love, pain, and determination. She's not just documenting a health crisis. She's showing what unconditional care looks like. Fans who once knew Julia for her sassy one-liners and fiery comebacks now see a different side. A fiercely devoted dog mom who won't stop until her furry companion has a chance to heal. "I don't know how I'm still functioning," she recently shared. "I just keep going, for him." Simba's role in Julia's American story. To truly understand Julia's emotional spiral over Simba's condition, one has to understand what these dogs represent. When Julia moved to the U.S., she had to leave behind everything familiar: her family in Russia, her job, her language, and her identity as an independent woman. What remained constant throughout this transition were her two German shepherds. Simba, in particular, became a grounding force, her emotional anchor. During the early days of her life on Brandon's family farm, Julia would often post stories showing herself playing with the dogs, training them, or simply cuddling with them after an exhausting day. When she felt isolated or overwhelmed, it was her pets who offered her comfort. In a way, Simba's presence helped bridge the gap between who Julia was in Russia and who she was becoming in America. So now, watching him suffer has pulled at every layer of her identity. The business she built on her own. Julia's devotion to animals didn't just stop at home. After stepping back from dancing and reality TV, she poured her energy into creating a pet-centered business. Her small company curates pet care boxes, filled with treats, toys, and training tools, shipped monthly to pet owners. The concept was born out of her experience as a dog owner and her desire to build a life on her own terms. Unlike Brandon, who has been more reserved when it comes to public life and entrepreneurship, Julia embraced her platform and used it to promote something she genuinely cared about. The business gave her a sense of purpose, a financial safety net, and an outlet for her creativity. And now it's also her lifeline. Facing thousands of dollars in vet bills, Julia turned to her business not as a desperate plea, but as a sustainable way to keep her family afloat. "I don't want to ask for handouts," she said. "But if you want to help Simba, support something I've built with love." The weight of responsibility. Caring for a sick animal is hard enough. Doing so without a clear prognosis, all while managing a small business and maintaining public visibility, is a different level of emotional labor. Julia has been candid about the toll this has taken on her. In one video, she admitted she hadn't eaten properly in days. In another, she showed herself crying while cleaning up after Simba, who could no longer control his bladder. What makes Julia's situation more heartbreaking is that she's essentially doing it alone, or at least that's how it appears. With Brandon largely absent from public view, fans are left wondering why he hasn't stepped up in a more visible way. "He's not in any of her videos," one fan commented. "Is she really going through this without him?" It's a fair question, especially considering the couple's past communication issues. Julia has not publicly criticized Brandon during this ordeal, but the silence is telling. Whether it's a personal decision to keep Brandon out of the spotlight or a reflection of underlying tension, it's clear that this journey has been Julia's burden to carry.